Hey everyone, I'm back after kind of a long break. I was under the weather for a little bit and my voice was all messed up, and I'm back in business now, and as you can probably hear in the background, Stella, my corgi puppy, is also back in business. She made a full recovery from her parvo, thanks to your donations and giving her the best care that we could. So she's good, I'm good, and I've got a tutorial this week on making a custom 404 error page. And for those of you who aren't familiar with 404 error, basically a 404 error is when a page cannot be found. So as an example, here's jdmthreads.com, a website that I built, and if you go to jdmthreads.com/something that doesn't exist and you hit return, you get a page that'll probably look familiar to you called a 404 error. The page that I typed in, or the search or the query that I did, it was not valid. There's no page there, so it couldn't load. And this could happen if you update your website and someone's linking to a page that has changed names. It can happen for a number of reasons, and the bottom line is if someone gets a blank white 404 page, it looks kind of nasty, looks intimidating, and their experience tells them that your website is probably janky, it's probably broken, and they'll probably go elsewhere rather than staying on your website. It's really not a good thing. So a custom 404 page is more like this. On jdmthreads.com, you get that blank white page, but on museresources.com, if I do / and then some gibberish, when I hit return, I get a page that looks very, very similar to the home page, except here it says, oops, this page may have been moved or deleted. Lets people know that they haven't done anything wrong, but what they're looking for could not be found, in a much more gentle way, and in a way that keeps them on the website. It's not going to make them leave. They're not going to bail thinking that your website is broken or that they have done something wrong. So now let's look at how to do this. Now, if you're hosting your website with Business Catalyst, I'm not sure if you can do this, but with a host that has a control panel, or a cPanel as we call it, you'll want to head to that cPanel. So I'm going to go to the cPanel for my host, which is called Just Host. And when I go into Just Host, so I get my cPanel, and for most hosting companies you should have a cPanel. If you don't, and if you're looking for more flexibility, Just Host is absolutely phenomenal. I'll put a link in the description below. So with my cPanel on Just Host, I get error pages. There's a button called error pages, and with that button I can create a custom error page on Just Host. Now you guys are probably thinking, well, how am I going to make it on Just Host? I thought this was a Muse tutorial. This is a Muse tutorial, and we're going to do it in Muse, but this is the trick to make it really, really easy. So I'm going to find the domain. In this case, the domain is jdmthreads.com. There we go, jdmthreads.com. And I'm going to set up a 404 not found error page. So I'm going to click on that, and it creates this sort of blank page here, and it wants me to start writing code. I don't want to write code. I don't really ever want to write code. So I'm just going to hit save, even though this is blank. And let's go look at the difference in what just happened. I'm going to hit go back, and I'm going to go to jdmthreads.com, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to type in some gibberish, and when I hit return, now instead of getting that generic server-based error, I'm getting a blank page because that's what I had saved. Now the result of this is that there is a 404 page. It just happens to be blank. Before, there was no 404 page in the first place. There was just a generic server error that talked to the browser. So now I'm going to open up CyberDuck, which is my FTP software. If you guys aren't familiar with the FTP software, that's a whole nother can of worms, but essentially you want to be able to log into your server and see the files on your server, which is going to be settings from your hosting company combined with an FTP application. In my case, CyberDuck, because it's free. So now that I'm signed in, now that I'm looking at what's on my server, we can see here that there is a page called 404.shtml. That is the page that loads when a page cannot be found. When there is a 404 error, this is now the page that loads. But again, it's blank. It's just a blank page. So let's go back to Muse. We're going to go to Muse, and what I like to do is just use my home page as sort of a template for my 404 error. So let's go ahead and I'm going to do a right click or a two-finger click if you're on a Mac laptop, and I'm going to choose duplicate page to duplicate my home page here. And when that duplicate pops up, here we go, I'm going to name it 404. That's all I'm going to call it, just 404. Now you could, if you want to be kind of lazy and kind of be a troll about it, you could just leave it at this. Personally, I would rather open up the page, and I would rather put something like oops, or something like that. I mean, it doesn't have to say oops. Let me actually make this text box wider. Oops, page not found. And I could even put 404 if I wanted to. Oops, page not found 404. That's kind of big and kind of intimidating, so I could even go ahead and make the font smaller than 60. I'll go ahead and make it 36. And now when people get to this page, they still have the navigation and they still have the content of the home page, so they're more likely to stay. They're more likely to even think that they got where they were trying to go and that they can navigate from here. They're not going to look at oops, page not found 404 and think, oh crap, I have to get out of here. So it's really, really effective. But here's the thing. I'm going to publish it now. I'm going to go ahead and choose upload to FTP host. My dialog box comes up. It's ready to publish, and I'm going to click OK. This might take a couple minutes actually because it has been a while since I've last published, and whenever there's a significant update to Adobe Muse and you go to republish a site, it actually re-exports all of the pages. That way you can optimize the code. With each update of Adobe Muse, there are often code enhancements, and that can affect every page of the website, even though it might not seem like it. So currently it's uploading every page of my website, which is 131 pages. So let me fast forward this for you guys. Alright, so that's done. So now that that is done, let's check out our custom 404. Alright, so it didn't work, right? So the reason it didn't work is because my 404 page got published as 404.html. Now if you guys have a great memory and you remember looking into CyberDuck at what was on the server, it was actually 404.shtml. So let's go take a look again. Now the problem is that our server is going to point everyone to the 404.shtml because that's what the server does. It's not going to point everyone to the 404.html. This is true of just host. It's possible that your host is different. If your host originally titled the 404.html, then you should be good at this point, but in my case it did not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete 404.shtml. And I'm going to go and rename 404.html to be the same name, 404.shtml. Now that I've done that, I'm going to come back here and I'm going to try to put in an invalid page again. And there we have it. Oops, page not found, 404. So now I'm going to retain more people on my website, even if a page gets moved or deleted or something goes wrong. It's pretty darn sweet. The other thing is, if you look at the top, we've got shop, 404, connect, and cart. I have an automatic navigation in here, and that automatic navigation is including all of my top level pages. So if you look at my top level pages in Muse, I do have shop, 404, connect, and cart. So I'm going to do a two-finger click on this page, and I'm going to choose here where it says menu options, exclude page from menus. That was a right click, menu options, exclude page from menus. And by doing that, it's going to fix everything. But now I've got to republish again because I forgot to do it in the first place. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And while that's uploading, you guys go ahead and try this. Let me know if it works out in the comments. Again, every host is different, but with just host, this is really quick and really easy. Alright guys, I've got more cool stuff coming soon.